Most people are afraid of debt. They avoid it. They are taught to stay away from it, to pay it off as fast as possible, to never rely on it. And on the surface, that sounds smart, responsible, safe. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The same thing that keeps most people poor is the exact thing that makes the rich even richer. Debt. The difference is not the tool. The difference is how it's used. Because while most people use debt to consume, the wealthy use debt to build. And that changes everything. From a young age, you are taught that debt is dangerous, that it's something to avoid, something to eliminate, something that will trap you. And for many people, that's true. Because they use debt for the wrong reasons, to buy things that lose value, cars, clothes, lifestyle, temporary satisfaction. And that type of debt keeps you stuck, because it creates obligations without creating income. There are two types of debt: bad debt and strategic debt. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket. It finances consumption. It creates pressure. It limits your options. Strategic debt does the opposite. It is used to acquire assets, things that generate income, things that grow over time. And this is where the real difference begins. Because most people are taught to avoid all debt, but the wealthy learn to control it. The average person thinks, how can I avoid debt? The wealthy think, how can I use debt to grow faster? This shift is everything, because it changes the way you see opportunity. Instead of waiting, they act. Instead of saving slowly, they leverage. Instead of limiting themselves, they expand their capacity. And over time, that difference compounds. Debt allows speed, and in the world of wealth, speed matters. Without leverage, you move slowly, saving, waiting, delaying. But with leverage, you accelerate. You acquire assets faster. You scale faster. You grow faster. And time amplifies that advantage. Because the earlier you build, the more you benefit. Debt is not the problem. Misuse is. Most people fail with debt because they use it emotionally. They spend to feel better, to look better, to impress others. But the wealthy use debt strategically, with logic, with intention, with a clear goal. And that difference determines the outcome. The entire financial system runs on debt. Banks, businesses, real estate, everything is built on leverage. And yet, the average person is taught to avoid it. Why? Because understanding leverage gives you power, and most people never reach that level of understanding. Everything changes when you stop seeing debt as danger and start seeing it as a tool that can be used wisely or misused, a tool that can trap you or free you. And once you understand that, you begin to think differently. You begin to act differently. You begin to move differently. Debt is not just financial, it is emotional. Most people don't use debt logically. They use it emotionally. They buy things to feel better, to escape stress, to impress others, to feel successful, even when they are not. And this is where the trap becomes invisible. Because it doesn't feel like a trap, it feels like relief. But every emotional decision creates a financial consequence. And over time, those consequences compound, not into wealth, but into pressure. Modern society rewards appearance, not reality. People are judged by what they show, not by what they own. Expensive cars, luxury clothes, high-end lifestyle. It looks like wealth, but often it's debt. And this creates a dangerous illusion, because people start chasing status instead of building assets. They spend to look rich instead of investing to become rich. And this single mistake keeps millions of people stuck. The wealthy move differently, quietly, strategically. They don't use debt to impress. They use debt to expand, to acquire assets, to control opportunities, to multiply their position. They think in decades, not months, and that's why their results look effortless. Because while others are consuming, they are compounding. While others are showing, they are building. Fear plays a huge role. Fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of taking risks. And because of that fear, most people avoid leverage completely. They stay safe, they stay small, they stay limited. But the truth is, avoiding all risk is the biggest risk of all, because it guarantees that nothing changes. At some point, everything becomes clear. You realize that the tools are not the problem. Debt is not the problem. Money is not the problem. The system is not even the problem. The problem is the lack of understanding. Because once you understand, you see things differently. You act differently. You think differently. And slowly, your entire life begins to change. Most people will continue doing the same thing, following the same path, repeating the same cycle. Not because they are incapable, but because they never stopped to question it. But you did. You are here. You are thinking. And that is where everything begins. Because the moment you understand the game, you have a choice. To keep playing it, or to change the way you play. And that is how everything changes. Subscribe, because escaping the script starts with thinking differently.